We're doing terribly. I mean, our education system's failed our kids.
I mean, you're saying you were trying to figure out how to better resolve cases. You resolved not a single case in Connecticut in 2025. I mean, how do you defend that? Not a single child in Connecticut got a positive resolution from the Department of Education for their discrimination claims. 70 of them had disability claims. How do you defend that?
Well, it is very difficult when I'm trying to address those particular issues, except to know that those things were happening, and we are looking forward to make sure that they stop happening.
But you fired half the department.
But that is hindsight. What we are doing now
What does that mean?
Is that you know perfectly well what it is. We've brought people on board to handle these cases because I believe that they should be handled. We should be dismissing these cases. We should be finding resolutions to them. And so those attorneys are being brought back. They were
how many of them have been brought back? All of the ones that were fired who didn't take early retirement, they came back, and we are, in this budget, have more money to hire more lawyers. No, this budget proposes a 35% reduction to the Office of Civil Rights, and so that's my final question.
No, but it is a budget of increasing dollars for civil rights, and we are hiring more lawyers.
No, it's not. This office. This budget has a 35% proposed reduction for the Office of Civil Rights.
There are certain words you can't say on YouTube, and I think most of them describe Education Secretary Linda McMahon, wife of Vince. But let's back up real quick to that whole firing half of the Office of Civil Rights. That sounds good, because when I think civil rights, I think too many, you know?
A little over a year ago, you made the decision to eliminate more than half the staff in the Office of Civil Rights and close half of the regional field offices. In President Trump's first year of his first term, OCR resolved about 60 sexual harassment cases and 15 sexual assault cases. Can you tell me how many of these cases were resolved in the first year of this term?
We are moving to resolve as many cases as we can, but we are bringing back many of those lawyers which were part of that RIF. And there was a time when we were not processing cases as quickly as we should. Well, but we are now focused on doing that and moving forward with the expertise
of the woman. For the record, the
woman.
answer to my question is 0.
We are moving forward to resolve those cases today.
Okay, well, as of this morning, 1% of all cases last year were resolved. 78% fewer cases were resolved than the year before. And really, we have to understand that what that means is kids are being denied equal access to education they are entitled to under law, are now also being denied the justice they serve. And that is really wrong.
Agree entirely, ma'am. However, you are talking to a former WWE executive, so you might want to put a little oomph behind the whole denying children the justice they deserve thing. But that's just a performance note. Substance-wise, I totally agree. Hey, spoiler alert, y'all, just so you know, Republicans want their constituents uneducated because it keeps them complacent, and so they only value education insofar as it turns them into functional cogs in the machinery of late modern neoliberal capitalism, case in point.
Secretary McMahon, the Department of Labor provides employment and job training services, enforces our federal labor laws, and protects retirement and health care benefits of workers. Why are you sending programs that support elementary schools and elementary school students to the Department of Labor?
I certainly do think that as we look at how education should be viewed in our country, clearly there are many aspects of education. It's enrichment of minds, it's development of thought, but it is also to provide an opportunity for children, once they have finished their education, to enter into the workforce and have an opportunity.
We're talking about elementary K through 12, and the grants that you're transferring to the Department of Labor are much larger and much more complex than what the Department of Labor currently administers.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about like that thinky stuff, but it's also so they can all generate profit for me and my friends. Also, breaking news, y'all, racism is over. This gets better and better.
Lipscomb University receives federal funding. They received $4.8 million in 2023. So I think Linda McMahon needs to look into exactly what Lipscomb University and Lipscomb Academy is teaching, because they're having their staff members read books on how to be an anti-racist and how white supremacy still exists.
It does make you wonder, if you're not serving your students, if you're not serving the interest of parents, if you're not serving the interests of donors, whose interest exactly are you serving at some of these private schools, most notably Lipscomb?
What is going on? Who is that? Who is that? Why does anyone care what she thinks? But she's got Dwight Schrute behind her. Did you see Dwight Schrute just kind of poking up? She's real. She likes The Office. She's approachable. Isn't that cool? Oh my! It's not even like we're being run by morons. We're being run by people with like a fetishistic attraction to ignorance itself. And when you have people like that in charge, I wonder if you're going to end up with ignorant kids. Case in point.
I'm excited to have this conversation because you bring so much sunshine to a topic that's been kind of tough. First of all, tell us where we are with where kids are doing in just scholastically in the country.
We're doing terribly. I mean, our education system's failed our kids. The latest NAEP scores, which were released just after the president took office, and that's the national report card, only about 30% of high schools and eighth graders can read proficiently or do math proficiently. Think about that. Public schools across the country, only about 30%. Some places 35%, but it's just terrible.
Brings so much sunshine. We're doing terribly. I bet she is really, really nice to servers at restaurants. There's no way. So there's an article I think everyone should read if you get a chance. It was released recently by Liberal Currents. It's written by a guy named Mac McManus, not to be confused with McMahon, and it's called The Right Wants You Stupid, and it's all about how the right wants us stupid, and this has been going on for a very, very long time, all the way up until the present. Take this quote from a 1980 book called The Meaning of Conservatism by Roger Scruton. He says there's a natural instinct in unthinking people who, tolerant of the burdens that life lays on them and unwilling to lodge blame where they see no remedy, seek fulfillment in the world that is, to accept and endorse through their actions the institutions and practices into which they are born. In other words, they don't think about how things can change, and they don't question the systems that they're in. And that's perfect for conservatives because that's what they want to do. They want to conserve. They want to keep things as they are and make sure the institutions stay in place. Just go to your church, get all your answers there. If something is bad, just accept the fact that it's your lot in life and God made that happen. See, it's a way of making sure you stay still and uncurious, and that way they can stay in power and keep taking your money forever and ever and ever. Or you can check out John Schwartz's article in The Intercept from 2022 about student debt and how one of Reagan's advisors in California warned him that they didn't want an educated proletariat because, God forbid, all of these uneducated people rise up and suddenly realize that, oh, you know, they're actually being taken advantage of and they don't want that. So congratulations, bottom line, to Linda McMahon. You are doing exactly what you were hired to do. And by the way, I am assuming Linda McMahon was hired because of her experience at the WWE. Now, I don't know what the WWE stands for. I'm assuming the E is education. Surely it's not some sort of performance-based entertainment thing. I don't know, but no, I am a big fan of wrestling in general, just not of her or her husband for that matter. But yeah, I hope it wasn't like a DEI hire, or like she just got hired because she's part of the same like elite group of wealthy people and they all stick together while they pilfer the American people. Like that wouldn't happen, right? You don't have. It's not like we have a president who's enriching himself and his family to the tune of himself over like $1.4 billion. But no, I mean, yeah. So I don't know. It's tough to think about. I know. I should probably read a book on it, but I only want to read it if it'll make me a functional cog in the machinery of late modern neoliberal capitalism. Otherwise, what's the point? You know, what's the point of learning anything if I can't use it to give money to the people who already have money? Too much sarcasm, but it's a coping mechanism, and we all need those. See you next time, everybody.